All right, guys. So for today, we're going to be going over how to solve two-step and multi-step inequalities. Um, some of them will have distribution and also include combining like terms. So when it comes to solving linear inequalities, it's very similar to the way we solve linear equations. So in this case, similar to linear equations, we're going to put a line in the middle of the inequality to distinguish that there are two sides to the inequality. So in this case, again, we're trying to solve for the missing variable. In the first one, we're seeing that we're solving for the variable of x. So the thing is that I need to send all the variables to one side and all the constants to the other in order for me to isolate that one variable. So in this case, the first thing I'll do is I need to move this plus 2 to the other side. So the way I do that is subtract 2 to both sides. That's the inverse of positive 2. So these cancel. We get 3x is less than or equal to 20 minus 2 is 18. Divide by 3 to both sides. And we get that the answers are all the variables of x in this case that are less than or equal to 6. This next one we have here, very similar, but in this case it's slightly different because in this one, again, we have a plus 2, right? So we take the inverse. That'll be, sorry, let me move this over here. That'll be plus 2 to both sides. We get negative 3t is less than 10 plus 2 is 12. Here we divide by a negative 3 to both sides. So this is where it's going to be slightly different than linear equations. So here we're dividing by a negative 3. So when that happens, when we either multiply or divide by a negative to both sides, we always have to be switching this inequality symbol. So in this case, we divided by negative 3, so we still have t, but instead of less than, as we see here, we're actually going to switch the symbol. Will be t is greater than, well, 12 divided by negative 3 will be negative 4. So the t values have to be greater than negative 4 in this case. Next one, we have x over 2 minus 8. So the inverse of minus 8 is plus 8. So we get x over 2 is greater than or equal to 28 here. 20 plus 8 is 28. X is being divided by that 2 here, right? So the inverse would be to multiply both sides by 2. And we get that in this case, x, right? That's the only thing that was left here, is greater than or equal to, because I did not multiply by a negative in this case, so it stays the same. And then 28 times 2 will give us 56 in this one. Now we're going to just move on. That's just a two-step inequality, right? That's the same thing here. If you want to try that one on your own, go ahead. See if you can give it a shot. But now we're going to move on to multi-step inequalities with distribution. So in this case, similar to linear equations, again, put our line, distinguish our two sides of the inequality. We have something over here that we have to distribute. The 3 is outside of the parentheses. So we have to distribute that inside. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times positive 4 is positive 12 is greater than or equal to 42. We have a two-step again, just going back to the same thing we were doing on top. So minus 12, because that's the inverse of positive 12. We get 3x is greater than or equal to 30. Here we just divide by a positive 3. So symbol stays the same. So x is greater than or equal to 30 divided by 3 is 10. So the answer is all the values of x that are greater than or equal to 10 in this case. The next one we have, same thing, distribute that 4. We have negative 28 is greater than 4t. Minus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So 14 minus 8. We have a two-step. So plus 8 to both sides. Here we get negative 28 plus 8. That gives us negative 20 is greater than the 4t. The 4 and the t are multiplying, right? And I'm trying to leave the t by itself. So I have to divide by 4 so I can cancel these. But I got to do it to both sides. So we get t. Right, in this case, it was pointing towards the t, so the t has to be less than, well, negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5, so the answer is all of the t values that are less than or equal to negative 5. Sorry, t values that are less than negative 5, not equal to. My apologies. Now here we would, same thing, distribute that negative 2, so we get negative 2x. Negative 2 plus 6 is negative 12, is less than 14. Add 12 to both sides. We get negative 2x is less than 14 plus 12 gives us 26. And then here we have another instance where we're dividing both sides by a negative. So in this case, since we're dividing by negative, and x would be, instead of less than, again, we're dividing by negative. So it will switch the symbol. So it'll be greater than negative 13 here. So again, the answer is all the values of x that are greater than negative 13. Let's go ahead, move on to doing now with like terms. Similar thing, right? We kind of have to identify what are my both sides of the inequality in here. And now try to figure out if there's anything on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the inequality that we could combine like terms with. So in this case, if I look at the left-hand side, I'm going to ask myself, are there any like terms? And here we would have like terms. It'll be the 4x and the 3x. So that means that we could combine those. So 4x plus 3x here will give us 7x. We didn't do anything to this plus 4, so we just bring it down. So plus 4 is less than 40 plus x. So again, we want to move the variables to one side of the inequality, either the left or the right-hand side. It's up to you. And then you're going to move all the constants to the other and then continue to simplify for that variable. So in this case, I see that we have 1x over here, and we have a 7x on this side. So I'm going to move this to the opposite side. I want to do the inverse of this. So the inverse of positive 1x is negative 1x. We cancel these, and we get 7x minus 6x is 6x. Plus 4 is less than 40. We have a two-step, so move the constant now to the other side. So minus 4 to both sides. We get 6x is less than 40 minus 4 is 36. Isolate the variable, so we want to cancel that 6 to leave x by itself. So we do that here. And x is less than 36 divided by 6 gives us 6. So the answer are all the values of x that are less than negative 6 in this case. And then lastly, we'll do the last one here. Now we're doing distribution and like terms when it comes to multi-step inequalities. So first thing is on the left-hand side, I could see I'm going to have to distribute. I'm also looking to see if there's anything that I can combine that are like terms. In this case, on the right-hand side, we have 6x and negative 4x. So let's begin simplifying. So here we got 5 times x gives us 5x. 5 times negative 3 gives us negative 15 is greater than or equal to, well, 6x minus 4x here gives us just 2x. We didn't do anything to this plus 15, so we bring it down. So plus 15. Again, similar to this problem over here, right? We want to move the variables to one side. Sorry, this one. Move the variables to one side, right? The constants to the other. Same thing here. Let's move this 2x to the left. So minus 2x would be the inverse, right, of positive 2x. That helps us cancel that. We get 5x minus 2x is 3x. We didn't do anything to this negative 15, so bring it down. So minus 15 is greater than or equal to positive 15 in this case. We have a two-step, so we're going to move the constants now to the right-hand side. So we take the inverse of this. We get 3x is greater than or equal to 30. Now solve for x. So x divided by 3 to both sides. X is greater than or equal to 30 divided by 3 gives us 10. So that means that in this case, right, it's all the x values that are greater than or equal to 10 that will be a solution to this inequality here. As you guys can see, these are very similar to when we solve linear equations. The only thing is that we obviously are dealing with inequality symbols here, right? And then the other thing is that when we're dividing or multiplying by a negative, right, it's important that we realize that we're switching the symbols, right, around. So that's super important for here. All of these were dividing by positives, so we didn't do anything. This one was dividing by a positive still, right? So didn't change it. Here we see a negative, so it went from less than to greater than. So just be mindful of those. And I'm actually going to do this one over here as well because it's going to be a good example of when we multiply by a negative. So here, let's actually do this one. So we have negative 2 over 3 minus 4 is less than 5. So we have negative 2 over 3 minus, sorry. So the first step, right, we already have a constant on the right-hand side. We're going to move this negative 4 to the other side. We do that by taking the inverse, so plus 4 to both sides. We have negative t over 3 is less than 5 plus 4. In this case, it's 9. The negative t is being divided by 3, so we're going to take the inverse of that, so multiply by 3 to both sides. So we get negative t now is less than, these two cancel. 9 times 3 is 27. But now this is a negative 1t essentially. So we do have to divide by a negative 1 here, right? That cancels this. And the answer now is t. Instead of less than, again, I have to just divide it by a negative 1 here. So similar to this one up here, right? We're going to have to switch the symbol. So instead of less than, it'll be greater than negative 27 in this case. So again, now we saw another example. Now when we're here again, dividing by a negative. So please make sure that you guys remember that and hope this video could help you guys out for this unit.